everyone, we're RV Travel Unraveled, and I'm Colleen.
I'm Randy.
If you watched our last video, you saw that we boondocked at a Harvest Host location. And prior to starting our RV travels, I actually thought Randy made up the word boondocking because it's a ridiculous sounding word. And I was like, you can't just make up words like that. But anyway, so if you don't know, boondocking means you have to supply your own electricity and your water, and you have to contain all your black and your gray water, which is all the gross things.
All the stinky stuff.
All the stinky stuff. You have to containerize it and I guess have a way to take it out of there. And so,
yeah, so we did our
so
first,
we did it that first time. Yeah,
we did our first boondocking. So in this episode, we're on our way down to Daytona Beach, Florida for Bike Week 2020. And this time we're going to be mooch-docking, which is a little bit different. That is a made-up term.
Completely.
I first heard that term from Chad and Tara on Changing Lanes. So what mooch-docking is you're kind of getting your water, your electricity, and or sewer, whatever it is. You're kind of mooching off of somebody, a friend, a relative, or something. So they're supplying your basic consumption needs. So in this case,
so we had water in our tank though, right?
we had water when we started out, so we took some water with us just in case. But when we got to Daytona, we stayed at our friend's place, and the intent was to mooch some water off of him if we ran out, and to run the generator. Fortunately, my friend down there happens to be an electrician. So he called me up and he's like, hey, what kind of electricity does that thing use? And I told him it was a 50 amp. And about an hour and a half later, he calls me back and he goes, all right, brother, we got you hooked up. And he had hooked up a 50 amp outlet into the house with about 70 foot of cable. So with my 50 foot of cable, so we were able to mooch dock electricity and water.
Great friend.
Off of our friends down there. We didn't have to set up at an RV camp, which are very full during Bike Week. Everything
we
down
saw a
there.
lot of them.
Yeah, there was a lot of RVs, a
lot
lot of campsites. They were all pretty full. But we were able to mooch dock, so all we had to do was contain our black and gray water. The problem with that is we're new to RVing and boondocking, so we really don't know how much water we use, what our consumption is. If anybody has done any kind of boondocking before, or you looked at your gauges that are on your quantity gauges for your white water, your black water, gray water, they're not overly accurate. They get corroded over a little bit of time, and they work. Ours works in thirds, so you really don't know how much you have. So because of that, we decided that we were going to stop at a Love's Travel Stop on the way down in Richmond Hill, Georgia, in order to dump our tanks. One of the questions we had before starting is where would we dump our tanks if we had some kind of overnight boondocking. I had put some questions out on some different forums and Facebook pages, and most everybody came back with, don't worry about it, you won't use that water. When you get to your next RV site, you can just dump. Well, we had stayed at a Harvest Host that you have to boondock, and we were staying about another 4 nights, so we really weren't sure how much we were going to have with us. I researched a lot of options, downloaded a lot of apps. Some of them I had to pay for, some I didn't. But the 2 apps that I found most useful was RV Dumps, and it's an app by Allstays. They have about 4 or 5 different apps.
Okay.
This is for RV Dumps. They have them if you want to do tent camping, hotels. They've just got different apps for different things. This is RV Dumps. But the other one I found that I like actually better is iExit Trucks. To me, iExit Trucks is the most user-friendly, it's the most informative, and it's got the best interface. When you open the app, it gives you several options. I usually select Find Me on the Highway, and it will ask you if you're on an interstate, if you're going north, south, east, or west, because there's always 2 lanes on an interstate, so it'll ask you which direction you're going. That opens up a listing of services by exit number from the closest to your location to farthest away in the direction that you're traveling. We were looking for a Love's Travel Stop with an RV dump station. If you scroll down until you find the services you want and select it, this will open up the specifics for that particular location, starting with the current fuel prices at the top. If you scroll down to the bottom, there's a list of amenities for that specific location. Most loved travel stops are RV friendly, but not all of them have RV dump stations. You have to look specifically for RV dump. If it isn't obvious where the dump station is when you pull into the Love's travel stop, go inside and ask the cashier. Love's usually charges $10 to dump and will give you a key to unlock the drain cover when you pay. So you're going to have to go in and talk to the cashier anyway. So if you don't know where the dump station is at that particular location, just ask. Another reason we like Love's travel stops is because of the discounted fuel we get for the use of the TSD Logistics Fuel Discount Program. TSD has negotiated discount fuel prices for their trucking company, and they've opened it up for RVers to use their program, which is pretty cool. The discount per gallon is pretty significant. So far we've averaged about 40 cents per gallon. That adds up pretty quickly. We put some links to the TSD logistics below. One final thing about most Love's travel stops. When you pull into the truck refueling lines, the far left lane is usually reserved for trucks needing air for their tires. Not all the time, but a lot of the times the left lane is reserved for trucks that need air in their tires. After dumping our tanks, we finished up our drive to Daytona. It's always fun to see all the different bikes and people that are at Bike Week. It can get a bit chaotic at times, but people are generally pretty polite. Although I love seeing the bikes, we actually head down to Daytona to ride and spend time with several great friends that live in the area. The first order of business was to get the bike unloaded without dropping it. To me it's strange, but when we pull in with the big rig, it tends to get the attention of people. Everyone is usually friendly and they want to talk. However, this really isn't helpful when trying to download the bike, back up the RV, and try to watch for obstructions. People are a distraction, and it's not always easy to politely ask them to wait while doing our business.
Yeah, you might actually make this corner.
However, in this case, although a lot of distractions, the neighbors were helpful in the fact that they gave me permission to drive across their yards if I needed to get the RV back into the driveway. Now, we don't want to bore you with a bunch of video of backing the RV into the driveway, but I do want you to see that we almost learned a lesson the hard way.
Yeah, we got plenty of room. Oh, wait! You're about to hit his awning. Hold on. I'm watching the fence, but you need to go to the right a little bit because you're really close to his awning. Whew.
Whew is right. We forgot that part and almost took out our friend's eave of their house. Fortunately, Colleen saw it just before I hit it. A very important lesson to not let people distract you and always look for obstructions around, below, and above the RV. It's so important to have someone help ground guide you when backing up or maneuvering in tight areas, if at all possible. Once we got set up, we hooked up with our friends and headed out for a little night ride through Daytona to get some food. The next day, we met up with several friends to head out and ride. It has kind of been a tradition that we head up to Finn's in Flagler Beach for a few refreshments and food before heading up A1A to St. Augustine. Although we've been to St. Augustine several times, we always love riding along the beach. Our quest for this trip was to visit lighthouses. St. Augustine is the home of the St. Augustine Lighthouse and Maritime Museum. It is a functioning lighthouse and the second oldest in Florida. After a stop to head to the top and look around, we hit the road back towards Daytona to visit some of the vendors. The last day of our visit, we decided to visit the Ponce Inlet Lighthouse, which is at the south end of A1A. The Ponce Inlet Lighthouse is the tallest in Florida. It is considered one of the most authentic and completely historic lighthouse facilities in the country. An additional draw to the lighthouse is a dog-friendly beach located next to it. Chloe loves to play in the water and run on the beach. It was nice to spend some time by the water and let our girl run and play. Unfortunately, our time in Daytona had to come to an end. We had to pack up and leave. It was great to get the bike out and get back into the wind. Because of living abroad the past 4 years, it's been a while since we had the opportunity to get out and ride. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like and subscribe buttons below. Please join us for our next video when we review the Homestay RV Park in Orangeburg, South Carolina.